Hello, travelers. Welcome in. Today we are doing our Tales with Time, and the book, of course, is still Dungeon Crawler Carl. I'm doing good, Skelly. Thank you for asking. I hope you've been having a good day too. I know you're about to head back into work though, so which sucks, but I'm glad you could make it in for as long as you can. But yes, we are reading our Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. We started a couple days ago. We read through chapter 5, so we're in chapter 6 now. What happened last time was Carl, basically the end of the world happened. He's now in a dungeon with his cat, Princess Donut. Um, and he beat up a bunch of goblins, learned about like his game system that he can see, and then he opened up all of his prize boxes, and then his cat ate like a special treat and turned into a glob of slime. And that's where it left off. I had a good day, but I did a stupid thing. What did you do? What stupid thing did you do? Surely it can't be that stupid. No, but my day was pretty okay. I really didn't do much today, honestly. I've just been pretty chill. I left work a little early today, so I had some time to come home and just chill out for a bit. My cough is starting to go away. Only a little bit though. It's like going away very slowly, but I think I'll probably have a much better reading voice than I did the first time I read this book. Oh, I also have water, and then my warm drink for today is hot chocolate because I was in a hot chocolate mood and I was like, yes, that sounds perfect. Well, I played Magic at the Gathering and I decided I wanted to collect all the base cards in the set. I ordered the cards I was missing to find out I missed one singular card. Oh no! Oh, I hate when stuff like that happens because you're just like, God damn it. You're like, I thought I had that card, or you're like, I thought I ordered that card, and then it's just not there. I'm sorry. I'm missing one card to complete the Spider-Man set. Oh, I've seen the Spider-Man cards. Those always look so cool. Ugh. No, those always look so cool. But well, you can always just get it, right? You can always just get the last card. I'm sure. Do 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 do. Da da da. Da da da. I know. I'm gonna yap for a little bit just in case people who aren't in yet can have the time to get in. So I don't start and then they're like lost in the middle of it. I can. It's just funny how I miss one. Yeah. No, I would be frustrated. I'd be like, oh my god, I can't believe I missed that. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. I was planning today on finishing more cardboard houses, and then I just did not have like the energy to do it. I don't know what was up today, but like I feel like it must have been a full moon or something, or like all these kids were like hopped up on sugar, but they were just wild in today. I swear. I was like, why are we all crazy? Like I had one of my kids, my kinders, jumping on their bus seat, and I was like, why are we doing this? And it was just, oh, my dog is making a nest with my pillows. Sorry if you hear him rustling around over there. But no, I was like, what is going on today? And so I was just like completely drained. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to leave work early and just chill out at home. I'm missing the Spider-Man pointing meme card, Imposter Syndrome. Oh, I feel like that's like the worst card to miss because it's such a good one. I love that meme. It's one of my favorites, the Imposter Syndrome card. Well, I just saw a clip on YouTube Shorts. I don't know what show it was from, but it was like it showed this dude who went to an alternate timeline, and he was like walking through his house in an alternate timeline, and he opened his door to find his alternate self. And he was like, "Dude, I'm from a different universe, and I used the key to open our door to like our secret room." And then they pointed at each other. And he was like, "Oh, it's the Spider-Man meme." Oh, yeah. So you did. Okay, Peacemakers was called. I didn't know what show it was from. I just saw it was a clip on my YouTube short things when I was scrolling through, and I thought it was really funny. It's called Vigilante. That, that fits, that checks. Is Peacemaker a good show? I kind of want to watch it because I that scene makes me want to watch it. But I'm gonna try and watch what is it, Madoka Magica or something like that, because I've heard it's pretty good, and I also keep seeing clips of that pop up, and it looks good. There's like one character I think who's like a time witch or something, and I'm very into that. I want to see the time witch, but yeah. I think I've been yapping for a good bit. We'll carry on. Right. Of course, we're gonna go over the rules again real quick. Tales of Time rules. No spoilers. If you know what happens in the book, don't spoil it for everyone else who is in the chat. Let them go on this journey themselves. Now I'm real bad about it. I'm not giving spoilers, but I love knowing spoilers. Just because I love knowing spoilers does not mean other people want to know them. So, but if you want to spoil me, which you can't for this book really, because I've already read it. But any other book that we decide to read that I haven't already read, if you want to spoil for me, I don't care if you do that. You could just DM me. Don't put it in the chat, though. It's a DC show. Oh, I don't really care for DC. Never mind, then. I don't like DC. Second rule, be respectful towards me and each other in chat. You can have different opinions. That is okay. You do not need to fight over your opinions. That is not okay. You can agree to disagree. Number 3, keep it cozy. Reactions are welcome, but please do not spam my chat or have off-topic chatter during the readings. Another thing is I'm going to be mostly reading, so I'm going to be looking down on a book. I may not see your chats all the time. So, yeah. If you, I will go back and, read all the chats after each chapter, which goes into number 4. Save long thoughts for pauses. So if you have bigger comments or things you want to discuss about the chapter we're reading, wait until after the chapter, or you could post them and then I'll read them after each chapter. But generally, I won't be reading them out loud or looking at them until after each chapter. James Gunn is the director, so he's doing mostly unknown characters. Anyways, I gotta go. All right, Skilly, thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. Have fun at work. It's late. You have a night shift or graveyard shift or something. That's what it seems like anyway. But anyway, those are the rules and regulations for reading time. Let's see. We're gonna be going into chapter 6. What else was I gonna say? There was something else I was gonna say. Oh, please, please, please check out the actual book. I'm not a professional reader. I do not do voice acting or any of that kind of fun stuff. But if you would like to hear a professional reading of this book, I definitely recommend checking out the audiobook or getting the actual book and reading along. It's a very good book. It's a very good series. There's, I think, 7 books in the series, and he is coming out with the 8th book soon, which I'm definitely going to go get that at some point. But I have up to 4. I have book 4, up to book 4 in the series, and then I have to go get the other ones. But it is a very good series. I really enjoy it. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it too. You haven't missed anything. I've just been going over the rules and basically what happened the last time I read and all that stuff, and just talking about my day. So I haven't started yet, Lemus. It's okay. You haven't missed anything. I've just been sitting in this. Yeah. The chapter 6 page. Any what the fuck kid moment? No, but they were all kind of like crazy today, energy wise. One kid was jumping on the bus seats and they were just all yelling and screaming. It was just one of those days where they were just so full of energy they didn't know what to do with themselves and were just being little monsters. But really no strange kid moments, honestly. Not really. Yeah, it is a Thursday. Tomorrow, though, I'm sure they're going to be perfect little angels, and they're not going to give me any hardships whatsoever, I say, as they drag me away to the insane asylum. But anyway, yes, we are probably going to start here reading chapter 6 in, a minute or so. Again, I still want to give time to people to join in, so that way they're not stuck with me reading in the middle. Hurry and start the story now. I will. I'll start it. Give me a minute. Dang, Lemus. Do you like the book, Lemus? Like, be so honest. Do you like it? I got you hooked. I'm telling, like, I love the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. Matt Dinniman's books are just so good. There's another series that he's written that I had the first book of, and it's called oh, what is it? I'm gonna have to look at my bookshelf later, but it's also really funny and good. I think that one was like also apocalyptic, I believe. It was like, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look it up later. I'll post it in the Discord. You love gore, yes, I know you do. I know you do, Loomis. All right, well, I think I've given plenty of time, so I'm going to go ahead and start. Again, just as a reminder, while I'm reading. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'll hold on. While I'm reading, I won't be looking at chat until I finish each chapter. You can still type stuff and like talk with each other. I just won't look at chat and because I'm gonna be reading, but I'll look at everything after. Oh yeah, go ahead. Talk about your day, Lemus. Go ahead. I already talked about my day. Mine was okay. How was your day though? How was your day? Hopefully chill. At least more chill than mine. Drink some water. Get my throat ready. Ew. That sounded disgusting. Oh, gosh, my cord for my headphones keeps getting caught on me too. We're also gonna try reading to chapter 10 today. So I think I've also decided that we're gonna do like 5 chapters each time I read this. Which doesn't seem like a lot, but it fills up the whole 2 hours. I went to Walmart and waited 2 hours for an old man just to pass me, and he only helped the white people. I was like, yep, next time we're going to Target. Fucking That's crazy. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry that happened to you today, Lemus. That sucks. Man, some people, some people. That's crazy. Yeah, no, just go to Target next time. Or go to bite the bullet and get like a Sam's or Costco membership, man. Like I like get it not wanting to like do the like membership and paying for it, but I freaking it's great, honestly. How much is it? I don't quite remember. Me and my like whole family share it. So we all like pitch in a little bit, so I'm not exactly sure the price, but I don't think it's a whole lot. Well, although that's for Sam's Club. I don't know about Costco. I think Costco's the same. Yeah, they sell screen protectors. Sam's Club, I know, does, because they have an electronic system. I'm pretty sure Costco does too, but don't quote me on that. Because I don't have a Costco where I'm at, but I do have the Sam's Club. And they do have screen protectors. Sam's Club kind of sells stuff in bulk, though. I don't think they sell the screen protectors in bulk, but... Did you break your screen protector on your phone? Is that why you need a new one? Or do you just not have one? Oh, no, you probably just don't have one because you got a new phone, right? Yeah. I remember you saying something like that. I'm going to go there next time, and it was also under staff in Walmart, and no, I didn't have one. Yeah. Yeah. That is fair. You could also order it off Amazon. That's where I get my screen protectors from, is Amazon. Or Target, I think. Okay, yes, I'm going to start. You were the one who wanted to tell me about your day. I'm starting. All right. Well, let me set my bookmark aside, my mushroom one. All right, we're getting into chapter 6. Chapter 6. As we waited for my mutant cat to emerge from her blob, I examined my other loot. The fingerless gloves went onto my hands onto my hands. Of the 2 weapons, I liked the feel of the cudgel more than that of the poker, which felt like it would bend and break the moment I hit something with it. I examined the cudgel's properties. The game show host AI described it using a caveman voice. Toad cudgel. Big stick for bonking. Bonk toad. Bonk mob. Bonk girlfriend and drag back to cave by hair. I wondered if the metal pot was still out there. It'd be better than this bullshit. I placed my hand on the symbol branded into my jacket. An info box popped up. Goblin Pass. It's a tattoo on your forearm. Now you'll never get a good job. Note. Past tattoos cannot be hidden unless you purchase a cover-up sleeve. Will show through any armor you may wear. Removes automatic goblin hostility. Allows for free passage through goblin-controlled territory in the dungeon. Warning. Holding a goblin pass will cause natural goblin enemies, such as fairy-class creatures, to deal 20% more damage against you. Still, it looks kind of badass. I grumbled that the system didn't give me a choice. It just burned it right onto me. I didn't have any tattoos, and I never really wanted one. Most people I knew had plenty, but I'd never liked the idea. My old man had been covered in them, and it wasn't ever something I associated with being cool. The black, leathery, and hooded night gaunt cloak weighed almost nothing. It appeared to be made from the wing of some sort of demon creature. The skin was stretched between rows of long, body-length finger bones. When I put the hood up, I noticed it had pointed ear things on either side. Enchanted night gaunt cloak of stoutness. The wearer of this cloak gains +4 to Constitution and becomes resistant to poison and ice-based attacks. In addition, the cloak adds anti-piercing resistance to all worn armor. It also makes you look like a dollar store Batman. Warning, if a night gaunt spies you wearing this, they probably won't be too happy with you. This is an extremely valuable cloak, Mordecai said, but the shirt is better. Much better. Enchanted trollskin shirt of pummeling. The wearer of this shirt gains +7 to the regeneration skill. In addition, all melee-based damage debuffs such as stun, knockback, disarm, and out of breath are negated. The shirt is also quite stylish, maybe a little too stylish. Unlike most monster skin apparel items, this shirt will not grant a negative reaction amongst trolls. In fact, lady trolls might just want to haul you away for some one-on-one time if they see you in this. That shirt is one of the best under armor garments for tanking, Mordecai said. A level 7 regeneration skill means you're back to full health pretty quickly after taking damage. In as little as 2 minutes. Finding it was a lucky break. This is something that would be a platinum or legendary box. You don't have to tell me twice, I said. I pulled off my jacket and slipped the short sleeve shirt on. It felt cool to the touch and form-fitted to my skin. A couple notifications appeared. I put the leather jacket back on and then added the cloak. I felt a quick rush of power course through me as my constitution rose from 5 to 9. New achievement loot. You're wearing something you found in the dungeon. Reward. You're now a handsome son of a bitch. That's reward enough. New achievement. Ooh, magic. You're wearing magical gear for the first time. You're a wizard crawler. Reward. You've received a bronze adventurer box. The box contained another torch and a pair of healing potions, leaving me with a total of 6. I still didn't have any pants. Or shoes. I was wearing a jacket, a cloak, and boxers. I shook my head. I examined the last item. The toe ring. Enchanted toe ring of the Splatter Skunk. Imbues wearer with +3 strength and gives +3 to the skill Powerful Strike. Also, it's a toe ring. It's probably uncomfortable, and it makes you look like one of those hippie assholes who sit around in a field juggling and hula hooping all day. Powerful Strike is a good skill, Mordecai said. Each level multiplies your damage when you're not wielding a weapon. So at level 3, each kick or punch does 3 times the damage it normally would. With your unarmed combat skill and the pugilism skill, your fists already do much more damage than either of those weapons. You might want to consider a monk class, which will enhance that further. So I could be like a ninja? I said. I sat down and slipped the toe ring on. It adjusted itself, sliding easily onto my filthy, bloody index toe on my right foot. Like the description warned, it was uncomfortable. I'd never been a jewelry guy. I hopped up and down, trying to get used to it. I felt my strength rise by 50%. And just like that, you're almost as strong as any human who has ever lived, Mordecai said. I received another snarky achievement for putting on jewelry, but no reward. I started to fiddle around within my skills menu. Despite the heavy filtering, there was a lot of information in there. There was literally a skill for everything. The menu had a search box. I typed in Frogger just to see what would happen. Growing up, my old man had an original stand-up Frogger video game machine from the arcade. I had spent hours and hours playing the game when I was stuffed in the basement. My mom locked me in there a lot. Whenever my dad had his friends over, they'd smoke and drink and get loud, and my mom didn't want them being a bad influence on me. So instead, I stayed downstairs with no television or internet and that damn machine. The top score one could get an original machine. One could get on an original machine was 99,990.
The game never ended, so you could keep playing past that, and the score would cycle over and over. My record was 879,460. Sure enough, it popped up. Frogger, 1981 video game cabinet version. Result hidden due to filters. Skill 8. I grinned at that. I wondered why that skill was hidden by the filters, but things like lacing boots, skill 3, wasn't. It probably only included skills useful in the dungeon. I doubted there would be a Frogger machine in one of these hallways. But that wasn't true, was it? Assuming it hadn't been tossed in a landfill, that old Frogger machine was down here somewhere. At least the atoms of it or whatever. This dungeon was literally made out of items built by human civilization. I sighed. It was hard to comprehend. Really, Carl? A new voice said. It was female, sultry, yet pompous at the same time. If you're going to insist upon wearing that hideous cloak in public, you might want to do yourself the dignity of putting pants on first. I just can't fathom why Miss Beatrice hired you in the first place. I looked wildly about for the speaker, expecting to find someone dressed like a medieval princess. Instead, all I saw was the cat. And that was the end of chapter 6. So that was a shorter chapter. Some of the chapters are pretty short, and then some of them get pretty long. But Princess Donut can now talk to us, which is my favorite thing. And I love Princess Donut. Princess Donut is one of my favorite characters. I'm gonna go ahead and go straight into chapter 7. Hold on, give me just a minute here. There we go. I'm gonna go straight into chapter 7 on this one. Donut? I said, looking down at the cat. Mordecai stood beside me, mouth agape. Despite being nothing but a pile of goo just a few minutes earlier, the cat appeared to be exactly the same as before. Maybe she had gotten a little bigger, but not by much. Either way, she was still decidedly a cat. Except for the talking part. First off, Carl, my name is GCBWRNW, Princess Donut, the Queen Anne Chunk. And I'm going to have to insist you call me by my proper title. I will accept just Princess, or even Princess Donut, but not if we are in the presence of high company. She looked at Mordecai as if he was something she had just vomited upon the floor. I suppose Princess Donut will do for now. I see what's happened, Mordecai said after a moment. You're partied with her, so you can see for yourself. Pull up her stats. I clicked on the party menu, and then I clicked on Donut's stats. Strength 11, Intelligence 11, Constitution 2, Dexterity 8, Charisma 25. What the hell? I said. She was stronger and more intelligent than me, and her charisma was just ridiculous. What happened? Her stats were all 1, all except Dexterity, which was always 8, and Charisma, which was 5. Whatever buff you gave her kept her race but changed her stats. Let me look. Yes, it's like I thought. Look in her health menu. It shows conditions. I clicked over and under buffs it read, Enhanced Growth. After an initial boost to 4 random stats, all additional levels will automatically grant +1 strength and intelligence. Charisma will gain +2 per level. No additional stat points will be received upon level up. Wait, I said. So she's getting 4 stat points per level instead of 3? Yes, Mordecai said. And she doesn't have to wait until she picks a class before they disperse. But that boost is a double-edged sword. She's forever stuck with a constitution of 2 and a dexterity of 8, unless she can find some gear that will enhance it, or if she picks a race and class that change it for her. But even then, the points will still distribute as indicated. He grunts. With a charisma like that, she should consider a bard base class. 2 points every level is going to add up fast. I'm immune to the effects of her charisma, same with you and other crawlers, but all the other NPCs and mobs won't be. For the first several floors, that number is huge. Bigger than you realize. But how can she talk? She's still a cat. I am right here, you know, Donut said. It's quite rude to talk about me as if I'm not in the room. And if you must know, Carl, for me, I hear your speech as it should be heard, and you hear mine as that disgusting monkey grunting you call English. I imagine this other creature hears it as squeaks and vermin hisses. This whole translation system is quite elegant, I must admit. I'm gonna have to start the tutorial all over, Mordecai said. She's not a pet anymore. She's now classified as a regular crawler. Not necessary. I heard everything you said to my manservant. Donut said. Now wave your hand and grant me access to my prize boxes so we can get this farce rolling. Manservant? I said. He's a little slow, Donut said to Mordecai. Intelligence of only 3. Sad, really. But he's been with the family for a while now, and I just can't see myself letting him go. I've activated your menus, Mordecai said. Oh, wow. He looked at me. She received a legendary quadrupod box for being the first cat to enter the dungeon. I watched as a group of loot boxes lined up in front of her just as they had done with me. She only had 5 of them. 3 bronze ones with a couple of healing potions and torches. Next was a silver adventurer box that contained a book and a pile of pet biscuits. The note over the book read, Tome of Magic Missile. Next came the legendary box. The symbol on the front was of a lion thing. Only a single item came out. A small jeweled tiara. The cat-sized crown glittered with smoky dark gems. The deep purple stone in the center swirled internally with clouds, as if the center was liquid. Enchanted crown of sepsis whore. That sounds ominous, I said. Wait until you read the description, Mordecai muttered. The item disappeared into her inventory. The cat sat down and started to groom herself. Are boxes custom tailored to the person? I asked as I pulled up the party menu. I quickly found I couldn't examine items in Donut's inventory. Only items she had equipped. Sort of, Mordecai said. You'll receive items that can be used by your race, but not necessarily your class. So a human barbarian might receive a necromancer staff. Donut glowed a bright red. Mordecai turned to the cat, raising his hand. Ah, Princess Donut, I see you taught yourself the magic missile spell already. That's good. Good. In case you didn't know, tomes will permanently teach you the spell, and scrolls will just cast it once. The other item you received is quite valuable and powerful, but it is also a very dangerous item. Before you decide to put it on, you should take special note that it, poof, the crown magically appeared on her head. Mordecai lowered his hand, sighing. How the hell did she do that? I asked. I'd had to manually put on my cloak and shirt. She's a quadruped. Oh my gosh. She's a quadruped. So she has a different user interface than you. She can perform many actions directly from her menu. Oh my god, I literally can't. Now that it was equipped, I could examine the tiara's properties. Enchanted crown of the sepsis whore. Who's a dirty girl? You're a dirty girl. This is a fleeting item. This is a unique item. Imbues wearer with +5 intelligence. Grants the user +5 to the good first impression skill. All attacks, including magical attacks, now have a 15% chance to inflict the sepsis debuff. Warning. Seriously though, I'm gonna say this again. Warning. Read the shit before you put it on. Placing this crown upon your head permanently places you within the royal line of succession for the Blood Sultanate on the 9th floor of the World Dungeon. Removing this item will not remove this status. Royal members of the Blood Sultanate will be required to slay the Sultan and all other members of the royal family before descending to the 10th floor. You'll only want to wear this if you're a bloodthirsty, raging psychopath. I'm not so sure you should have put that on. It's purple, Donut said. Purple is my color. Do you know how many purple ribbons I've won? Do you know what it takes to get a purple ribbon? What does fleeting mean? I asked Mordecai. And why is there an asterisk by unique? Donut had received a few more boxes from learning the spell and putting on the tiara. It was all low-tier potions and torches. She sorted through the items now, hissing with displeasure each time she received another torch. Fleeting means it'll crumble to dust the moment she takes it off. If that happens, another crown will be generated somewhere else in the dungeon. Now that it's on her, don't let her take it off. If another crawler gets the crown, it'll just be one more person you'll have to kill to get off that floor. The idea of having to fight actual people hadn't occurred to me. Would that really happen? The thought of it made me sick. I looked at Donut. What the hell am I going to do now? I asked, shaking my head. The tutorial was over and I knew it. We'd have to go back out there. It's quite simple, really, Donut said. You need to assist me to the 18th level so I can exit this hellscape and resume my rightful place as liege. I am assuming this rat creature won't be able to travel with us. She lifted her paw and pointed it at me. So you have been promoted from manservant to bodyguard. Congratulations, Carl. Princess Donut has named your party the Royal Court of Princess Donut. Princess Donut has changed her title to Royal Bodyguard. Princess Donut has changed her title to Grand Champion Best in Dungeon. Really? Mordecai laughed. She has the highest combined stat total, so she's the designated party leader. As such, she has more control over the party menu. Don't worry, the titles don't mean anything. He paused, suddenly serious. Listen up, kid. She's quite a bit more powerful than you are right now, so you'll want to stick together. At least until you get to the 9th floor. That will be a challenge. You can always leave the party. That crown is on her head, not yours. Donut walked up to the door and scratched at it. It opened on its own. And that was the end of chapter 7. Any thoughts on that one? I love Princess Donut so much. I love how sassy she is. And that crown. Yeah, that one's gonna be a doozy. But they'll have to wait until they get like all the way to the 9th floor for that one. But yes. Now they're going on their first, or their journey now. Now that the tutorial's over, now they get to go on their journey. Little recap. I was taking my nephew wanting Roblox. So recap of chapter 6 and 7. 6, near the end, they found Donut was talking to them. In chapter 6, Donut went through all of her boxes. They found out she's way more powerful than Carl, has higher stats. And she put on a crown that basically, it's called, let me see what the title of the crown is. What is it? Enchanted Crown of the Sepsis Whore. Yes, that is the thing she got. She's a sentient cat now, so she can talk. She's very sassy. She has a crown now that's kind of cursed. And basically, the crown, what it does is it gives her a bunch of, like, stat buffs. But when she gets to the 9th floor, she has to kill the entire royal family that's tied to the crown in order to leave the 9th floor. So, but yes. And then we left off with them completing the tutorial, and now they're going back into the dungeon. Yeah, she is. she is. She's also the party leader. She became the party leader. So she is, she's the party leader because she has the highest stats. She's the stronger one of the party. So between her and Carl, she's stronger than Carl right now because she has better stats. So she's the party leader, which is great. It's my favorite thing ever. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get into chapter 8. You know, now that I'm like, I feel like I'm reading faster than I did last time, but I guess last time I just kind of yapped a whole bunch in between each chapter, which may have taken a while. But maybe we might get past chapter 10 in this one. We'll see. All right, I'm moving on to the next chapter. Chapter 8. Chapter 8. Time to level collapse. 4 days, 20 hours. And with no additional fanfare, we left the guild and struck out into the dungeon. By the way, Mordecai said as we left, now that I've successfully trained both of you, if you enter any additional training grounds, you'll be transported back to this room. I'm now your registered guide, so feel free to come here if you have any additional questions. You'll lose access to me once you hit the 4th floor. Yeah, take care, I said. Good luck out in the universe once this is over. Mordecai looked at me sadly. Yeah, good luck to you too. He grasped my jacket and met my eyes and then whispered, It's not worth it. No matter what they tell you, not until floor 12, and even then, negotiate as much as you can. Remember that. He slammed the door and my mind reeled. What did that mean? Was he saying it was better to die than to take whatever exit they offered on floors 10 and 11? Did that even matter? Floor 10. Who was Mordecai kidding? 3 million people had died in this place in the very first hour. I wasn't expecting to survive until the next floor opened up. Okay, Donut said. Here's what we're going to do. You're gonna walk that way, and if we get attacked by anything, you protect me. Wandering aimlessly? That's the plan? I asked. We have approximately 29 hours before these aliens air their television show. That means we have 29 hours to do something absolutely spectacular. But, Donut added, first we need to find you some pants. I will not be presented to the universe in such a fashion. I can just see the comments now on the Martian social media, she mocked an alien voice. Beautiful cat, Blorg, but why isn't her bodyguard wearing pants? I sighed and started moving down the hallway. We headed back the way we'd come before, back toward the main thoroughfare. This entire area was scorched black from the explosion of the goblin dozer. The smear of blood from where the dozer had run over the goblin remained. Everything else had been destroyed in the explosion. You know, you're not wearing pants either, I said after a moment. Nor am I wearing a cloak that makes me look like I won a participation trophy at the Special Needs Comic-Con, Carl. I'm a cat. Cats don't wear pants. Don't be so droll. We came to the junction, and I rarely looked around the corner. I didn't see anything. This hallway was lit by torches, not the green lichen, so it was much brighter. It seemed completely abandoned in either direction. We stepped out into the wide tunnel. Now, I know your simple mind is telling you to just keep... Okay, I said, turning on the cat. I was struggling with this decision earlier, but this transformation, or whatever has happened, has made this much easier. I'm gonna go that way, I pointed east, and you're gonna go any other direction than that. Good luck. What? Donut said. You want to separate? I don't understand. Look, I said. Mordecai said you're a lot more powerful than I am. Great, that means you'll probably be okay. More okay than me. I leaned in. But I would rather just get this over with and get squished by a goblin bulldozer than spend another second dealing with this bullshit. Cats are assholes. I get it. But do you know why people like cats, despite their assholeness? It's because they don't fucking talk. If they did, and they were all like you, they'd all be extinct because we'd have killed you all by now. I pulled up my menu and tried to figure out how to remove myself from the party. Wait, Carl, wait, don't. I'm sorry, wait. What? I said. The cat sat on the floor. She seemed to deflate. I'm sorry. You're right. It's just... Have you ever woken up from a long dream? One where you're one thing, and now that you're awake, it takes you a moment to realize that's not who you really are? I just looked at her. Okay. When I woke up back there, I had all my memories of all my time being me, of sitting in that window looking outside, of watching television all day long, of all the hours in the carrier and in the back of Miss Beatrice's car, traveling to those horrid yet wonderful shows, of being told what a princess I am. And then, suddenly, my mind looked back on all of it, and I understood what had happened. I am a grand champion, Carl. I'm supposed to act a certain way, but sitting in your lap, watching you get fragged over and over in Call of Duty, I like that too. I mean, you really suck at the game, but you keep playing. I didn't realize it at the time, but I like that. So, what are you saying? That you're not a crazy, stuck-up asshole princess? Oh, I am a princess, Carl, but I'll try not to be too much of an asshole. I need you, and you need me, okay? Look, I'm really scared here. I don't want to be alone, and I know you, and you don't want to be alone either. I saw you the other day, looking at the map on your computer, and then at those apartments on Craigslist. What do you mean? I asked, but I knew exactly what she meant. There was that day when the passes were clear. You could have taken me back to Miss Beatrice's parents, but you didn't want to. You were looking at apartments, making sure they allowed cats. You were thinking about catnapping me. I just looked at her. It's exactly what I had been doing, but I hadn't even admitted it to myself. It wouldn't have worked, by the way. Her dad would have got me back right away. I sighed. That was true, too. Bea's dad was a lawyer out of Yakima. Okay, I said. Let's keep moving. We kept traveling. The mini-map showed the cardinal directions, and we headed east. I kept an eye out for any special rooms or other dots. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not wearing pants because you decided to jump out the window, I said after a few minutes of us traveling in silence. That reminded me, and I felt in my pocket. Yes! A pack of Marlboro Reds. I still had half a pack left. I still had my Zippo. I'd also received a lighter from that goblin box, so now I had two. I had the urge to pull the pack out right then, but I knew I probably wouldn't get any more cigarettes ever again. I had to conserve them. If I hadn't jumped out the window, we'd both be dead right now. Why did you jump anyway? Stop, Donut hissed. There's something down there. We passed by multiple junctions and alleys. Everything in this maze was featureless so far. I saw no signs of life whatsoever. We stopped now by a thin alleyway similar to one that had hidden the goblin dozer. It's completely pitch black in there. On my map, the alley led down to another junction, then several more tributaries. The map only revealed so much of the area, so I couldn't see past there. There were no red dots or anything like that, not that I could see. What is it? Donut leaped off of the ground and landed on my shoulder. I suppressed an oof. She was nearly as heavy as she used to be when she did that. Then I remembered my strength was much higher than before. She curled her long, fluffy tail around my neck and glared. A low growl escaped her throat. What? What do you see? Thwomp, thwomp. 2 bolts shot out of Donut's eyes, one after another. They were like laser blasts from a sci-fi movie. I was so surprised that I almost fell backwards. Instead, I just stumbled a little. I remember she had that magic missile spell. The first bolt hit the rocky wall of the alley, sending bits of rock and smoke showering. The second was better aimed and traveled the length of the tunnel before splashing against something that howled with pain. It was too far away for me to see what it was, but the moment the missile hit it, a red dot appeared on my map. Okay, there it is. Go get it, Donut said. Yeah, maybe next time wait until we know what it is before we start randomly shooting at it. What if that had been a person? The creature made a deep rumble that was half bleat, half roar, and started galloping down the alley toward us. Whatever it was big. That's quite obviously not a person, Carl, Donut said. Shit. The thing was really booking it now. Shoot another missile, I said. A third magic missile shot forth from Donut, this one hitting it directly in the chest. The creature staggered and cried out in pain, obviously hurt, but it kept coming. In the moment it was lit up by the pulse blast, I could distinctly see what it was. I got a good enough view for the info box to pop up. Bad llama, level 3. It's a llama, but it's bad. If he were human, he'd be covered in prison tattoos and would be hanging out in front of the Circle K hitting on 14-year-old girls. They might be willing to sell you something if you have good stuff to trade. You don't want to get hit by their spit. God damn it, Donut, I cried, jumping back from the alleyway entrance. A red baseball-sized bat of spit splattered out of the hallway and splattered across the floor. It sizzled where it hit, and the stones of the rocky floor turned crimson. Lava. The llama was shooting lava out of its mouth. I balled my fists. Mordecai had said my punches were more powerful than either of the weapons I had, but the idea of fighting a fucking llama with my bare hands was ridiculous. I had the fingerless gloves I'd received in the loot box, but they offered no armor protection. You're gonna have to shoot it again, I said. I can't, Donut said. I'm out of mana. Didn't you get a mana potion? I cried as the llama emerged. The damn llama was even bigger than I'd expected. It was as large as a horse. The creature had giant yellow buck teeth. It turned its scorched and tan-colored head back to glare at me. One of its eyes had been blown off by the missile. Black and red ichor poured down the side of its face. It had the debuff septic pulsing over its head. The powerful debuff was similar to poison. It worked faster, but it couldn't be stacked, and unlike poison, it could be healed with a simple healing spell or potion. The llama's health was already about 3/4 gone. Donut howled and leaped off my shoulder as the llama reared back to spit again, the thing's neck glowing red. I hit it with an uppercut and a left hook right in the face. I felt bones crunch. My left hand exploded in pain, and I didn't know if the crunching bones were in the llama's face, in my hand, or both. Probably both. It grunted with surprise and unleashed its gob of spit just as its head turned away from me. I felt the heat of the ball sail over my shoulder. I stepped in and punched it again, a right jab directly in its glowing throat. The creature dropped like a stack of hammers. It tried to cry out, but nothing but gurgling came out. I jumped back as the fur and skin around its neck erupted in red flames. I had ruptured whatever the hell was in its throat that made the lava. The llama continued to gurgle and make pitiful sounds as its health plummeted. A moment later, it was dead. The lava around its throat started to rapidly cool, filling the hallway with an acrid sulfurous stench. My left hand was broken. It throbbed in pain, but thanks to my regeneration ability, it was already knitting itself. I pulled up my health menu and looked at the pie chart. I could zoom in on that specific injury, and it gave me a detailed explanation on everything that was happening. My regeneration skill did a triage of my injuries, healing the most important items first. It was just my left hand along with some abrasions on my right hand. I could adjust the menu and give healing priority to other parts too. After a minute, I was good as new. I dealt 71% of the damage, Donut said. It's telling me I get to pick loot first. The corpse blinked, and an info box popped up. Lootable corpse, Bad Llama, level 3, killed by Crawler Grand Champion, Best in Dungeon, Princess Donut, with an assist by Crawler Royal Bodyguard Carl. Poor llama skin, uncooked llama steaks ×2, baggie of trailer park grade meth ×2. The skin disappeared from the inventory menu along with one of the steaks. The corpse's skin disappeared, leaving just a gross pile of muscle. Your turn, Donut said. Meth? I said. I laughed at how absurd it was. I added the rest of the items to my inventory. My inventory added 2 new menus, food items, and pharmaceuticals. I had a couple new achievements, one for looting a corpse and one for sharing experience. I received a pair of bronze adventurer boxes. Donut got the same, plus a couple additional achievements for casting her first spell and finally killing something, along with killing a mob of a higher level than herself. That was no good, Donut declared as we continued our trek east. Sloppy, you can't be injuring yourself every time we get into a minor tussle. Minor tussle? We need to be more cautious, I said. We can't just blindly stumble around. No, we need to level up, Donut said, and we need to do it quickly. I'm starting to think this main road is not the best choice for traveling or fighting. She jumped down a random hallway, and I had to rush to keep up. A few turns later, and we were far from the main thoroughfare. Here, the halls were tighter and the ceiling much lower. The whole place glowed green from the lichen on the walls. Some of the halls curved and met dead ends, but thanks to the map, which built itself as we went, it was easy to keep from getting too lost. The whole place was eerily barren. Occasionally I heard a screeching noise coming from the distance, and once I heard something that sounded like a man screaming at the top of his lungs, followed by gunfire. But it was far away, and I couldn't tell exactly from where. We traveled like this for what seemed like hours, not coming across anybody or anything except a few random tutorial guilds, and bathrooms. The bathrooms were everywhere. It was the strangest thing. So there seemed to be a bathroom door about once every quarter mile or so. Each doorway was different, and it appeared the doors were taken from actual bathrooms in restaurants and bars, and buildings from around the world. Some had the symbol for men and women on them, one had a handwritten sign in what looked like Korean, another had a note saying it was for paying customers only. I opened the first 4 bathrooms we came across, and each one was the same inside. A silver toilet and a roll of toilet paper. No sink, no mirror, just a toilet and barely enough room to sit down in. No matter how wide or thin the door was, the room was the same each time. After the 3rd room, I began to suspect it was the same room. To test it, I took the roll of toilet paper and pulled it out. Pulled it out, dipping the end into the bowl of the waterless toilet. The next one we passed, I opened it, and sure enough, the toilet paper remained dipped in the bowl. After I closed the door, I had Donut open it up. She could open and shut doors just by looking at them, as long as she was close enough. She opened the door I'd just been in, but this time it was a knee-high cubicle featuring a litter box. Oh, good. I got a wee, Donut said, entering the room and shutting the door. She emerged 30 seconds later, trailing litter all over the place. She looked over her shoulder at me. You should go. You look like you need to go. What I really needed to do was sleep. The initial adrenaline rush from all of this was finally coming down, and I was exhausted. I had only slept an hour or so before I'd woken up last night. Last night? It was barely 5 hours ago or so. In my health menu, it listed me as fatigued. It didn't cure itself with my regeneration. We had to find one of the rest areas. Mordecai said they were all over the place. We could set up a temporary base of operations there and explore the area cautiously and deliberately. This aimless wandering was going to get us into big trouble sooner rather than later. A couple minutes later, we were beset by a group of level 2 rats. There were 5 of them, and the screeching, hissing creatures were about half the size of Donut. The monsters weren't too big, but the bastards were huge for rats. They bit and scratched, and one even inflicted me with a poison debuff that only lasted for a second before my cloak canceled it out. I ended up defeating them by punting them against the wall one by one. They hit the wall and exploded like water balloons. Their deaths were over the top, overly gory, almost like their bodies contained twice as much blood as they should. Donut had leveled up to 2 after the llama battle. It appeared we received experience equal with the percentage of how much we had participated in the battle, but the number wasn't exactly equal with how much damage we dealt. I suspected support activities such as tanking and healing also counted, though we didn't have nearly enough data to figure out if that was accurate or not. It also appeared that simply being in a party with someone present at the battle garnered a nominal amount of experience. With the rats, I received nearly enough to level me up to 3. Donut, who hadn't lifted a paw to help me, spent the next 5 minutes bitching about her mentorship, about how her mentorship should have counted for more experience. The cat was definitely making an effort to be less abrasive, But she was still a cat. She had a reckless streak to her and a quick mouth, often making quips before realizing what she'd said. But she was also showing very cat-like signs of affection, too. One time I stopped and leaned up against a wall to rest, and she spent the time purring and rubbing up against my legs. I looked down at her and she returned my gaze. "What?" she said. By the time we finally found a safe room, we had participated in 10 more skirmishes, all against rats and these large cockroach things things called scatterers. The bugs were the size of and shape of a loaf of bread. We didn't receive any additional loot of interest except multiple rat pelts, and one cockroach dropped an item called a scatterer carapace, which added itself to my crafting items menu. I killed every single one of them with my bare feet. I punted the rats and jumped on top of the cockroaches. The bug mobs crunched like potato chips under my feet. While I did most of the fighting, Donut now made an effort to fire one magic missile each fight from the safety of my shoulder. Her skill level in the spell went up to 3. I spent a moment examining her stats. My view was limited, but I could see she currently had a 17 in intelligence, giving her 17 mana points. Each zap of her spell cost 5 mana points. For me, the spell points regenerated very, very slowly, making magic almost useless. Donut regenerated much faster, at about 1 point a minute. I didn't know why she generated the points more quickly, but 1 a minute was still pretty slow. Most of these fights were decided in seconds. I hit level 3 and gained a skill called Foot Soldier, and a second one called Smush. The Foot Soldier skill increased the damage I dealt by kicking. The Smush skill was something else. The voice reading the skill description was deeper, more throaty than usual. I could actually hear him breathing like he was a dude beating himself off while he said it. Smush, skill level 3. Killing with your feet. Your bare, beautiful feet. Taking your bare foot, placing it on top of a living, conscious life, and then pressing lovingly down until that life ceases to be. Is there a more noble way to kill? The amount of pressure you can bring to bear upon an enemy with your unshod foot is increased by 10% with each level of this skill. I remembered the weird message I received before when I jumped onto the Goblin Engineer. I thought it was just a throwaway joke, like most of the descriptions, but it seemed the AI, or whatever it was that controlled the game messages, really did have some sort of foot fetish. It was fucking weird. "I guess you're not getting any shoes," Donut said after I made the mistake of describing the skill to the cat. "Yes, we are. As soon as possible," I said. "It sounds to me like the computer fancies you," Donut said. "Or your feet, at least. We'll need to take advantage of that. If the system likes us, then maybe it'll go easier on us." "It makes me uncomfortable," I said. "Being eaten by a bugbear makes me uncomfortable, Carl. So if your boyfriend ogling your tootsies keeps these easy-peasy bugs coming at us instead of more of those lava-spitting llamas, then you better buck up. Get over your human male privilege and take one for your princess." "Take one for my princess?" I muttered as she cackled with laughter. I saw the safe room glowing green on the edge of the mini-map, and we angled our way toward there as we continued to argue. The scatterers were becoming more frequent, and I knew the main nest had to be nearby. At least I hoped that was what was happening, and that Donut wasn't right. A single level 4 cockroach scuttled away at our approach, disappearing toward a large round cavern that was past the entrance to the safe room. We didn't pursue it, choosing to head toward safety. We entered the safe room. And that was the end of chapter 8. I think I might actually be able to get further, because I'm looking at the time right now. We're making pretty good time. I don't know if it's just because I'm reading a lot faster, or if there's just, like, less pause time between each chapter before I start reading the next, but we're making pretty good time. And I punt the cat, lazy as fuck. No, you can't punt Princess Donut. She's my favorite. I would be Princess Donut. I would be the cat. She's like my spirit animal. Oh my gosh, but I love... It's a running joke that the AI loves Carl's feet. It's just my favorite running joke in this series. She's lazy and stuck up. Lemus. Why are you... But she's so funny. I freaking love Princess Donut. I can relate to her. I'm lazy and also stuck up sometimes, you know? I can relate. Let me take a sip of my hot chocolate. No, but I'm making pretty good time this time, so maybe we'll be able to
get a little past chapter 10 if we feel like it, or should we just stick to the 5 chapters per stream? Hot chocolate in fall, yes. My hot chocolate. It's very delicious. I have hot chocolate and water. But yeah, I feel like, honestly, because I think chapter 9 is also fairly short, and it looks like chapter 10 is too. Hold on. I'm looking right now. Yeah, chapter 10 is super short. So maybe we'll read past. We'll see what time we're at when I finish chapter 9 and 10 and decide from there. Alright. I am going to continue to chapter 9. Chapter 9. Entering the safe room. We entered the room, and both of us stopped at the entrance gaping. What is this magical place? Donut asked, jumping from my shoulder, her tail swishing about with excitement. That's the biggest cat tree I've ever seen. It's not a cat tree, I said. It's the playground. We were in a fast food restaurant. It was almost like a McDonald's, but instead of everything being red and yellow, it was white and blue. The playground, with the massive slide and tunnel system and ball pit, was straight out of my own childhood. The signs on the walls were in weird language. Polish, maybe? Pictures of plastic toys from some cartoon movie indicated this month's prize inside of their off-brand Happy Meals. I couldn't remember the movie's name, but I recognized the hippopotamus and ferret thing. The movie was new, just released. They had taken a complete intact fast food restaurant from some random country and placed it here underground. We'd come in through a main entrance. Large windows surrounded the empty restaurant, but the glass showed nothing but solid wall beyond. 3 large screens stood directly above the counter where the menu would normally be, but instead of a menu, the screens contained information about the game in Syndicate Common language. Donut bounded toward the play area, disappearing into the colorful children's maze while I read the screens. The first was a countdown until the level collapse, which was in 4 days and 17 hours. The line below that read, "Countdown until the premiere of Dungeon Crawler World, Earth, 23 hours, 42 minutes. Remaining crawlers, 4,322,395. I blinked at that. Holy hell, it had been 10 million just a few hours before. As I watched, the number just kept getting lower and lower. I looked down at my feet, which were bloody and covered in bits of bug chitin and that white goo that came out of the bigger ones. We'd been lucky so far. We'd found some good gear and survived several attacks. Weren't these other people working together? It seemed like too many people had died. I shuddered. I swallowed and continued to examine the signs. The next screen over read, "Leaderboard. Leaderboard will populate upon collapse of the 3rd level." The 3rd screen read, "Welcome to the safe room. You are on the 1st level. Rental rooms currently available, 20. Rental room price, 0 gold. Personal spaces will become available for purchase on the 4th level. Food is available at this location. Rooms available?" I looked at the mini-map, expanding it to fill my screen. The restaurant had 3 exits. There was the door we'd come in through. A second door on the opposite wall had a dotted line on the other side and an X over the door. I mentally clicked on it and the box popped up. Personal spaces are not yet available. That made it sound like I could buy an actual house or base of operations here. But if the floors kept collapsing, did that mean I'd have to buy a new one each floor? Through the 3rd floor, which would have normally led outside, I could instead see a small hallway flanked by 10 tiny rooms on each side. Mini hotel rooms. Each no bigger than a closet. Sleeping spaces. That's when I noticed the white dot on the map. I startled, realizing there was a creature standing right next to me, just behind the counter. I waved the map and looked. A furry creature with a paper hat stood there, barely taller than the counter, which explained why I'd missed him. I examined his properties. Tally, Babka Protector, level 63, caretaker of the safe room. This is a non-combatant NPC. Babka Protectors are magical gnome-like creatures who exist solely to watch over safe rooms. They do everything from scrub the toilets to prepare your food. They are surly, smelly, and they never wash their hands. I cautiously approached the counter. The hairy dwarf didn't move like he was a statue. His hair was brown, but had an odd, almost green tinge to it. The creature had so much hair on his face that I could only see his black eyes and his bulbous nose, which was covered with angry red veins. He smelled vaguely of wet moss.
He wore a blue apron, a plain paper hat, and he had a name tag that read Tally. "Hi there," I said. "Do you wish for food?" he said, his voice louder than I expected. The creature had a Slavic accent. Not quite Russian, but close. What do you have?" I asked, looking back up at the mini board, which hadn't changed. "Is there a list somewhere? Sorry, I'm new here." "Tally knows you are new here. This dungeon has just opened. It opened without warning, so Tally is not prepared. But I am ready enough to make make most food for human crawler. Tally is prepared, has been preparing for many of your years to make food for human crawlers." He leaned, rising up on his toes to look at Donut, who was bouncing about in the ball pit. "I am not prepared for cat, but I have milk. It's better than pet biscuit." "Actually, she really likes yogurt," I said. "I'm not supposed to give her too much. Bia gets..." I paused. "Cats need meat to survive." "Will you be renting room?" The creature barely moved a muscle when he talked. It unnerved me. "Yes," I said. "I know our time is limited, but I need to sleep. I shall give yogurt to cat. I will have meat for cat when you wake, but I can make food for you now if you wish." Sure," I said. "You really have yogurt?" "Yes. What is it you wish for?" I realized at that moment that I was starving. "Is there anything you recommend?" A pause. "You wish me to make food of my choice?" "Yeah," I said. "Why not? As long as it's not any sort of fish. I've had enough fish to last 2 lifetimes." Tally nodded by barely moving his chin. "What is your spice tolerance? 1 to 5. Are we talking human spice tolerance? I like spicier, so 4, but only if it's on the human scale." "It is a human scale. Now sit. Open boxes. Wait. Tally will bring you food. Then you sleep." He placed a fast food cup and a small paper bowl on the counter, and then nodded at a row of self-serve soda machines before turning and waddling toward the back. My choices at the soda machine were something called Hoop Cola, water, milk, vodka, and something called Worka, which I determined to be beer after I tapped the lever. I was tempted by the beer, but I went with water. I filled the little bowl with water as well. I took a sip and was surprised at how pure it tasted. I shook my head and sat at a booth. I'd received multiple boxes, including a silver adventure box for finding my first safe room. I spent the next several minutes sifting through the mostly useless loot. Potion, torch, bandages. That was new. They stopped bleed effects. I didn't know if my trollskin shirt stopped that or not. It was all the same stuff except for a silver ring I found in the silver box. This ring gave me +1 to my constitution, bringing the stat up to 10. Donut jumped on the table while we waited. She drank a bit while I finished examining my loot. She had several boxes as well, including a gold magic item box she received for being one of the first 100 callers to level magic missile up to level 3. In the box were 25 potions of mana restoration and a collar charm. The charm was a little silver butterfly. Donut squeaked in delight when she received it. It even had a little ring on it, so it easily attached to her collar. The charm jingled when it moved. I shook my head. The game really was tailoring the prizes toward the crawler. You don't want to wear a damn bell around your neck. Do you know why people put them on cats? So the birds and squirrels can hear them sneaking up on them. "It's adorable," Donut announced as the charm poofed onto her collar ring. "And I am wearing it." I examined the charm's properties. Talisman of the Slate Butterfly. Those who remember and commemorate the sad tale of the Slate Butterfly are given a boon by the fairies of the world. That story even made me cry. Adds +4 to the light on your feet skill. Adds +1 to intelligence. Winged fairies will no longer be automatically hostile towards you. I had no idea what the tail of the slate butterfly was, but I had to admit it was a good item. But was it worth the extra noise we would make? I didn't know. I wasn't exactly the king of stealth either. The light on your feet skill simply meant she'd be able to pounce higher and farther. She was already a 3 in the skill when she received it, so the charm made her a 7. The moment she put it on, she went bounding back toward the play area and jumped all the way to the top of the plastic tubes, a leap that was twice as high as she'd been able to go before. She spent the next 10 minutes with the zoomies, rushing around the play area like she had when she was a kitten. Shit. That had been, 4 years ago? "Hey," I called, "be careful. Don't forget you still gotta land." Talia emerged from the kitchen holding 2 trays. He waddled from around the corner and placed them both on the table. "Eat." Donut had a simple bowl filled with white yogurt. She returned to the table and sniffed it suspiciously. "What is this?" I asked, poking at my food with a plastic fork. It smelled delicious. Myrrh vindaloo. Spice level 4. Boneless chicken cubes simmered in velvety sweet and sour vindaloo sauce. Also potatoes and other spices. It is on top of biryani rice, and I have also made garlic and spinach naan. I apologize, I do not have lamb. They took my lamb for a mob in preparation for the second floor. He turned to Donut. Also, Your Royal Highness, I have special ordered a fresh salmon for your meal upon waking. I will have it properly prepared and diced and garnished for you later. Your Highness, I said. Thank you, Tally, Donut said. Oh, and Tally? Yes, Your Highness, he asked, bowing slightly. Please make sure Carl and I have best appointed rooms for our convalescence this evening. That'll be all. I'm pretty sure they'll all be the same, I said. Also, you don't want a room of your own? Of course, Your Highness, Tally said and turned away. I looked at the cat, and she blinked and tilted her fuzzy head, her approximation of a shrug. It's not my fault he sees me as royalty. I took a bite of the food, and I immediately forgot everything else in the world. It was literally the most delicious thing I'd ever tasted. I'd never been a huge Indian food fan, but holy shit, it was just the right level of heat. I devoured it in minutes. Tally had returned to his post at the counter and remained there unmoving. Dude, I said, this was the best thing I've ever eaten. He nodded slightly. Are you going to be in all the safe rooms? No, he said. When this floor collapses, I will move to a random floor in the dungeon. When that floor collapses, I will move down until I'm no longer needed. He didn't elaborate further. Well, I'm thinking we're going to stay here the next couple of days, I said. I fought the urge to lick the plate. Could he really make anything in the world? The world's gone. A wave of sadness washed over me unexpectedly. I took a deep breath. I pulled out the pack of cigarettes from the pocket and was about to light one when a loud but firm nope from behind the counter made me put it away. We can't stay here, Donut said. We need to keep moving. I have an idea, I said. I think there's a nest of those scatterer bugs just next door. I say we spend our time here and try to clear out the nest. Surely we'll get some experience. Once the entrances to the next level down show up, we'll go searching for a staircase. But until then, we have a spot to sleep, a supply of good food, and nearby source of experience. I think this is a good place. Okay, she said after a moment, but we need to come up with a snappy way to kill them. Something exciting, yet cute. Something with zest. I want on the show, Carl. We're not getting on the show, I said. Weren't you paying attention? Millions of followers, loot boxes. We need to get on that show. Maybe we need a catchphrase. I sighed. And that was the end of chapter 9. Next, chapter 10. Yeah, like I said, chapter 9 was kind of a short chapter. And chapter 10 is even shorter. I think it's literally only like... Oh yeah, it's like 4 pages long. It's not that long. How long is chapter 11? Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's like a couple, like, just shorter chapters coming up. So we'll carry on then. Until I guess we hit either 2 hours or until we hit chapter 15. Because I think we'll either do like 5 to 10 chapters each time we do this. So, chapter 10. Time to level collapse. 4 days, 3 hours. I slept much longer than I planned. The rooms are small, but not claustrophobic like the dungeon bathrooms or the racks in a Coast Guard's cutter. The bed was more comfortable than I expected. The white cotton sheets smelled brand new and faintly like laundry detergent. And while the halls of the dungeon were humid and stuffy, the temperature in the rooms were a bit chilly, just how I liked it. Donut insisted upon sleeping in the room with me. As usual, she slept on my neck. I didn't dare take off my shirt or cloak, though. I knew I was supposed to be safe. Once my head hit the pillow, I was out. I didn't dream, wasn't haunted by nightmares like most nights. I awakened feeling refreshed and full of energy. I looked at the countdown time, astonished that I'd slept 10 hours straight. I hadn't slept that long without waking in at least 5 years. It took the literal end of the world to finally give me a full night's rest. Donut yawned deeply and rolled onto her side as I sat up. Go back to bed, she said sleepily. I need several more hours. This is an order from your princess. Get up, I said. Tally is making you food, remember? That perked her up. The bathroom and the restaurant had stalls for showers with soap and shampoo dispensers. There were also cheap disposable razors and shaving cream. I finally peeled my clothes off and took a long, warm shower. I stayed until the water no longer ran black. I shaved. There were no towels, however, and I had to drip dry. My internal clock was already broken. I knew it was nighttime again on the planet's surface, but when I saw the plate with bacon, eggs, and pancakes, I sat down and inhaled it all. It felt like breakfast time. It felt like a new day. I wondered about who those who'd survived but didn't go into the tunnels. How were they faring? Especially folks in the area of the winter storm. With no shelter, they'd have to build one from scratch. With no electricity, they'd have to make fires. And how much available food would there be? Probably not much. Even most of the animals, like chickens and pigs, were probably in coops and barns during the collapse. Across from me, Donut was eating her third plate of salmon pate. Pate? I'd been deliberately avoiding looking up at the board, but I did now. 4,148,111. How soon before my number would be ticked away? I tried asking Tally some general questions about the dungeon, but he refused to answer. He'd only answer questions directly related to the safe room. If I buy a personal space, will it transfer from level to level? Yes, it will, and from safe base to safe space. Also, it's best to buy all the accessories as soon as you can. Some of the items only upgrade when it goes down a level, so if you wait several levels before you purchase a crafting table, it won't get as strong as one purchased earlier. Soon thereafter, we left to hunt for some bugs. Outside the hall was just the same as before. I looked warily about for red dots, but I didn't see any of the bugs. I stepped a bit from the entrance and I pulled out a cigarette and lit it, sighing deeply. I counted, and I had 9 left after this one. Really, Carl, must you light that? You know how I feel about them. Jesus, Donut, I said, you're worse than Bea. While Miss Beatrice and I don't always see eye to eye on certain policy decisions of the household, I must agree with her on this one. Cigarettes are disgusting. Well, there are only 9 left, so you won't have to suffer. I stopped dead as the trio of scatterers rounded the corner, chittering as they approached. It was 2 level 2s and a level 4 that was larger than the others. The third bug was almost the size of Donut. I wouldn't be squishing this one with my foot. Scatterer Brood Guardian, level 4. Cockroaches that have been baptized in rage and monster energy drinks. But its smaller brother, the Scatterer Brood Guardian, is a giant bug who wants nothing more than to fuck you up. Unlike his little brother, these guys are dangerous. Shit, that doesn't sound good. I really didn't want to fight this thing with my hands, despite knowing I did less damage this way. I pulled out my toad cudgel and clasped it in my hands while Donut blasted the large cockroach 3 times with a magic missile. It hissed and rolled back a few times, its health knocked down by half. Want me to hit it again? Donut asked. I'll have to down a mana potion. No, I said, relieved that the missiles did so much damage. I'll take it. I stomped forward with my foot, crushing both the smaller roaches. The Brood Guardian jumped back up and charged again. It was fast, but I was ready for it. It skittered forward, mandible antennae things thrashing. I swung the cudgel down at its head. The rounded edge of my weapon bounced off the creature, which hissed and fell back. The hit didn't appear to do much damage. Plus, I had to awkwardly bend down to use it. I quickly switched to my poker to see if that'd be better. It charged again, and I stabbed it with the iron stick. Its giant head knocked the poker right out of my hand, and it went flying. This place has the shittiest weapons. I stepped back and snap-kicked, hitting the roach right under its little semicircle head. It squealed. The kick did more damage than the magic missile. I slipped forward, continuing to kick at it while it shrank back. Donut leapt off my shoulder with a hiss as I jumped in the air, coming down hard on its back. The cockroach exploded, like a balloon filled with coconut pudding. God damn it, I said, looking at the goo on my feet. Donut crept forward and sniffed the remains. It didn't leave anything lootable. The level 4 ones aren't too hard to kill, Donut said. Oh, he smells just awful. I looked at the map. A couple curves of the halls led to the large room. It looked as if there was a door, too. Okay, this is what we're going to do, I said as I went to retrieve my poker. The damn thing was useless, and I shoved it in my inventory. We'll wait until your mana refills. Then we're going to creep toward that main room and peek inside. If it's too much to handle, we'll run back here and rush into the safe room. The safe room door won't open if mobs are outside, Donut said. We'll be fast. That's fine, she said after a moment. Just remember, I can run a lot faster than you. We ended up killing a couple dozen more of the level 4 scatterers before we reached the door. We found a hit to the face with a magic missile just before it lunged would stun it. I'd punched down a few times and then stomped the head. Stomping the head almost always resulted in a critical hit. We received several vials of something called Scatterer Hemolymph, which looked like the white goo that came out of them when they died. The system identified it as an alchemy material. Every once in a while, the scatterer would get inflicted with sepsis when it was hit by the magic missile. When that happened, it would churn and try to run off. It would usually collapse and die after it took about 30 steps. Both Donut and I were level 5 when we got to the door. For me, the higher levels didn't really mean anything. I received 3 and I were level 5 when we got to the door. For me, the higher levels didn't really mean anything. I received 3 stat points every time I leveled, but I couldn't distribute them yet. The only thing that helped was that my pugilism, unarmed combat, foot soldier, and smush skills were all level 5 now also. Because of Donut's special buff, she was growing with each level up. Her strength was now at 15. Now when she jumped onto me, I could feel the strength of her claws on my shoulder, even through the leather jacket and trollskin shirt. Do you have any sort of slashing skill? Something with your claws? Of course I do, Donut said. My slice attack is at level 4, and my back claw is also level 4. Okay, good, I said. You can help if we get into trouble. Your strength is way higher than mine. You should get in there once your magic runs out. The door at the end of the tunnel didn't have any sort of official sign on my mini-map. We crept toward it, going as silently as possible. Donut's little bell jingled with each step. The room beyond was large and round-shaped, probably about 1,500 square feet. The door itself was old and grimy, with a doorknob that appeared to be hanging on by a single bolt. While it wasn't labeled on the mini-map, there was a paper sign attached to the door written in Spanish. It looked like some sort of official notice. The sign was old and weathered, and it looked like it had been there a while. No entrar, I whispered, squinting at the sign. I think that means do not enter? The next part, por orden del centro de salud? I don't know. By order of something, I think. Can you read it? Donut just looked at me like it was the stupidest question she'd ever been asked. It doesn't matter, I whispered. Okay, we're cracking the door and looking inside. The doorknob didn't work, and the door wasn't fully latched. I pushed it open as slowly as I could. The door screeched, and I cringed. The room was pitch black. I couldn't see a damn thing. I heard rustling, so I knew there was something in there, but I couldn't see what it was. Donut was standing completely still. Her hair poofed out like when she was freaked out. What do you see? I asked. There's a lot of level 1 and 2 cockroaches in there. Lots and lots of them. But there's other stuff in there, and I can't tell what it is. It looks like piles of garbage. It smells like that bug you take with you on those days that other guy comes over to the apartment. Like socks. But hundreds of them. I don't see anything else. Light a torch and throw it in there. Wait, what? I said, are you talking about my gym bag? Some guy who was coming over to the apartment when I was at the gym? Focus, Carl. Light a torch. Actually, I said, I have a better idea. I couldn't believe it. Actually, I could believe it. It was my own fault. I should have broken up with her long ago. I felt like an idiot. I also, suddenly, felt very reckless. Get ready to run, I said as I pulled out the stick of goblin dynamite. The red stick was wet and sticky on the outside, like it was sweating. I examined its properties. The game show voice whispered the description. Goblin dynamite. This stuff is especially volatile. It's so volatile you probably don't even need to light this stick to set it off. It's so volatile even loud noises might set it off. Keep it in your inventory until you're ready to use it. Be gentle and don't squeeze too hard, or else you might get the AI didn't speak for a good 2 seconds. Boom. The AI shouted the last word in my head, and I almost pissed myself. I stood still for several moments, my heart thrashing. You are a fucking asshole, I whispered up at the air. Okay, I whispered to Donut. Run now. I'm right behind you. Donut scampered away as I carefully pulled my Zippo. I lit the long wick which started hissing and popping like a sparkler. I tossed the dynamite into the room, throwing it as hard as I could. I churned and I ran. I prayed it wouldn't blow up when it hit the ground. And that was the end of chapter 10. And now I feel like this is gonna go horribly wrong, you know? But also he was so mad because he just found out that his girlfriend was cheating a lot longer than he thought she was. But yes, Carl and Donut, I think they're about to do their first big fight, if I can remember correctly. Taking a couple drinks of my drink. Also, ads are starting in like 15 seconds. Take a couple swigs. Okay. Chapter 11. It blew when it hit the ground. I chucked the dynamite a pretty good distance into the large room, but I was only a few steps away from the door when it went off. Bam! The sudden resounding concussion sent me flying. I hit the stone floor and bounced sliding. The wooden door splintered, and a jagged hunk of wood ricocheted off my head. Stinking, billowing smoke poured through the entrance. Blood seeped from a cut deep in my scalp. My vision flashed, and I received a danger, low health warning. But it quickly abated. Behind me, I could hear the crackling of fire. I groaned, rolling onto my back as my health slowly kicked its way back up. I felt as if I'd been run over by that goblin bulldozer thing. Donut appeared above me, looking down. "Are you dead?" she asked. "No," I said. "I don't think so." "Then you better get up. Let's go see what we just killed." I pulled myself up. Mordecai had said that I'd be fully healed in 2 minutes, but 2 minutes was a long time when you were in pain. I had over a dozen healing potions now, but I didn't want to waste one just yet. Not when I didn't have to. The room glowed red, and I pulled the torch from my inventory. I went to grab my lighter, but a box appeared above the torch, asking if I had wanted to activate it. Weird. It was different than the dynamite. I mentally clicked yes, and the torch lit on its own. A half-hour timer appeared and then faded as the bright dancing flames engulfed the top half of the stick. I paused at the entrance, peering inside. The room looked as if it was the interior of a dumpster. Mountains of trash rose to the ceiling. Multiple small fires burned, giving it a pulsating red glow. I tossed the torch in, and the room lit up further. I spied multiple bug pieces scattered about. My map populated with about 3 dozen X's, indicating bug corpses. I didn't see any movement and red dots. I'd also received a ton of notifications, but they were all in the folder. "I think we killed them all. Do you see anything?" "Nope," Donut said, strolling into the room. She stopped a couple steps in, looking distastefully at her paws. She stepped on something that looked like a dirty diaper. "The only thing that smells worse than trash is burning trash. You made a real mess of this place." I followed her in. Donut jumped on my shoulder and immediately began licking her paws. I pulled up the notifications as we cautiously moved deeper into the room. The ceiling was higher than out in the hall, almost as tall as the main corridor. Piles of garbage filled the room, stacked at least 15 feet tall. A black garbage bag was ripped open at my feet, and I could see fast food wrappers, soggy Spanish-language mazines, and empty cans within. Why would they transfer garbage into here? I stepped gingerly as to not cut my feet, but I already felt as if my feet were changing, becoming less sensitive to the bare ground. I knew this would be pure agony. It was still uncomfortable, but it was getting better, and it was happening much more quickly than it would have before all this happened. I'd received several skill upgrades just from that one move. Explosive handling, dangerous explosive handling, goblin explosives. In addition, I'd receive another a silver goblin box for killing more than 10 mobs with an explosive, and a gold crowd control box for killing more than 15 mobs with the same attack. I received a huge experience bonus for that, taking me almost up to level 6. I had one more notification, an achievement. I clicked on it. "Do you hear music?" Donut asked, pausing her cleaning to look up at the ceiling. "New achievement, Boss Babe. You have struck a blow against the dungeon boss and caused damage to it. Here's a fun fact. For crawlers who make it through the tutorial, this achievement is, by far, most often the last achievement they ever receive. Isn't that interesting? Reward. Let's wait a few minutes before we decide whether or not to waste a prize on you." Shing! The door, which moments before had been blown to bits, magically reformed itself. locking us in the room. And just to hammer the matter home, silvery glowing bars of metal appeared, locking it in place, one by one, with a clink, clink, clink. 3 skull-headed torches appeared, arising from the garbage heaps. At the far end of the room, something rustled. Something big. Music started playing, the sound filling the room. It was odd, intense, disjointed. It was like a harp playing with distortion with a heavy beat under it. The ground rumbled as the announcement came. Boss battle. You have discovered the lair of a neighborhood boss. But put your game faces on, ladies and gentlemen, and here we go. The AI was louder than usual. He sounded like an announcer at a monster truck rally. Normally, I was only really hearing this stuff in my head. This time, it was through an actual loudspeaker. It echoed, shaking the walls and the piles of the garbage. Carl, I don't like this. Take me from here immediately, Donut cried. She jumped from my shoulder and started scratching at the door, which would not open. Carl, open the door this instant. I pushed myself against the back wall, waiting for the monster to emerge. Donut, get ready, I cried. Just start pumping it with magic missiles. Use your mana potions to refill yourself. Donut turned and panic fired a missile, which bounced ineffectively against the sifting garbage pile. Wait until we see what it is first. The garbage exploded upward, in a geyser of scorched trash bags. Bug parts and paper and food wrappers rained. A woman appeared, reaching into the air, screaming as she rocketed up like she'd been shot out of a cannon. She landed with a heavy crash 20 meters in front of us. Donut and I looked at one another. This was a human woman, about 35 years old, enormously fat. She wore a filthy, ripped t-shirt and no bra, and her skin was covered in open sores and scabs. A blue pair of sweatpants with the word pink along the leg appeared to be stretched to their limits. Her black hair clung to her head in clumps. Like me, she wore no shoes. She was also 15 feet tall. She spied us cowering, and she screamed again. Everything stopped the moment she screamed. She froze, I froze, and Donut froze. The only thing that kept moving was my mind, which raced. What the actual... A mugshot style shot of my face, and a round frame appeared, floating in front of me. My name and level written under it. A second image of a donut appeared next to mine. A huge versus splattered into the air. The Hoarder. Level 7 neighborhood boss. Trapped in her pile of rubbish, abandoned by society, the war inside her head has seeped out of her mind and infected both her body and her surroundings. Now nothing more than a garbage troll, the Hoarder is a horrific reminder of what can happen to those who fall out of the light. Protected by her minions, she'll do anything to keep her precious stockpile safe. The woman's title, The Hoarder, appeared in a stylized metallic font with blood splattered around it. It was straight out of a fighting video game. The moment the description ended, we could all move again. The giantess finished her scream and took a few steps toward us, garbage cascading around her with each step. Half of the woman's face was burned to hell. She had a health bar over her head, and it was already 3/4 gone. I cheated the boss fight, killing her minions and hurting her before it even began. Ayúdame, por favor? The woman cried, reaching for us. Her voice was deeply beefy, scared. The giant woman sounded terrified. This is Spanish. I'm gonna butcher it. No sé qué está pasando. Me duele el estómago. No sé dónde estoy. Por favor, tengo miedo. Shit. I think she's a person, I said. Like she was in her house when it happened, and they turned her into this thing. We should help her. Yeah, that'll be a no, Donut said. She shot a magic missile at the woman, who staggered as it exploded against her chest. The tattered remains of the woman's filthy t-shirt burned away, revealing pendulous, stretch-marked breasts that fell over a sagging, equally marred stomach. Her health barely nudged. Ayúdame, the monster woman cried again. Thank you, Lemus. I saw that, by the way. She made a gagging noise, and when she opened her mouth, a pair of level 2 scatterers came out and charged at us, hissing. This is really disgusting, Donut said. She shot another missile at the woman, her third. Take a mana potion, I cried. I punted a cockroach and then stomped the second. A bag of garbage softened the blow, and it didn't die. I stomped again. I cried out as a jagged hunk of metal tore my foot. The scatterer hissed. Fuck this. I reached down and ripped its head right off the body. It came off with a pop, sending me flying backward. I hit the ground. My hand grabbed something. I thought at first it was a bicycle chain. No, a leash. A metal chain-linked leash. The kind people use for really scary dogs. I snatched it up, pulling. It was still attached to the mummified remains of a large dog. It yanked out of the garbage like a monster leaping at me. Jesus Christ. I unhooked it and pulled myself to my feet. Okay, I said, looping the chain in my hand. The woman was scared, disoriented, and she obviously didn't want to be here, but she was also vomiting killer cockroaches at us. Our only real choice was to take her out. Distract her, I said. I ran around one of the big piles of garbage, one of the ones holding the skull torches. Thwump. Donut fired a missile. Hurry up, Donut cried. More cockroaches are coming. The cat yowled. I saw her sail into the air, using her jump ability to land atop the pile I was running around. Carl, this is not acceptable. I rounded the corner, coming at the massive woman from just behind her. Another magic missile bounced off her chest. She staggered as two more scatterers emerged from her mouth. She made this awful noise as they emerged, the sound of 20 people vomiting all at once. These were level 4 bugs, the larger brood guardians. I can't drink another potion yet, Donut cried. It won't let me. I can't fire another missile for a minute. Shit. I didn't think about what I did next. I rushed up the pile of garbage behind the woman. My feet screamed as I stepped on what felt like broken glass. I looped the metal leash around the handle. I ran and I jumped onto her back, slipping the loop over her throat. I slid off of her wet, greasy body, grasping at the end of the leash with all of my strength as it pulled taut around her. She gurgled and started thrashing about wildly. She stumbled backward, falling toward me. I scrambled to my feet, pulling. Her hands moved to her throat as she crashed down, splattering one of the scatterers. Several other bugs filled the chamber now, unable to easily get to Donut. They turned toward me while I pulled and pulled. You're doing it, Donut cried. A little help here. The bugs made an angry chittering noise as they descended on me. The poor woman gurgled and thrashed. Her health moved downward, slowly but steadily. My missiles aren't ready yet. A level 4 hissed and jumped on me. I kicked at it and it skittered back. It lunged again and snapped, taking a bite of my leg. I screamed. Use your fucking claws, I cried. She's almost dead. You can kill them when you kill her. God damn it, Donut, I cried as a second cockroach bit me. I stumbled forward suddenly, landing between the two scatterers. The chain had broken. I stared stupidly at the remains wrapped in my hand. Fuck. Thwump. Donut fired a magic missile. It must have let her drink another potion. A cockroach hissed and died. Thwump, thwump. The last two went into the woman. She still wasn't dead. With the chain still wrapped around my hand, I scrambled up and punched the head of the closest of the brood guardians. Its face exploded, showering me with gore. A notification appeared and minimized itself. I turned as the second jumped at me. I fell onto my back as it hit my chest, mouth thrashing at my neck, its barbed legs scrabbling. I ripped the creature, and one of its legs came right off, like I was pulling it from an overcooked chicken. It squealed in pain as I pushed it off me. I leaped at it, pummeling its back with my chain-covered fists. It shrieked and died. My knuckles ached. I need brass knuckles. Real ones. I whirled around. The hoarder lay on her back. Her health bar was all but empty. Steam rose off of her. The broken half of the leash remained around her neck. I had to finish her off now before she puked more bugs. I scrambled toward her. The woman's eyes met mine as I raised my fist. Lo siento si fui una mala persona, she said. She closed her eyes as tears streamed down the non-burned side of her face. The woman only had one misshapen tooth in her mouth. No quiera que mi hija se... Oh, I'm butchering it so bad. Si enfermara. No quiera estar en el infierno. Por favor. Por favor, envíame a Jesus? Yeah. I'm sorry, I said. I punched her right in the nose. I felt it give underneath my fist, almost like it was an aluminum can wrapped in clay. It crumpled and crunched deep inside. I punched again and again. My fists burned in pain, and I took my own damage with each blow. A minute later, and she was dead. Once again, the world froze. And the winner is the Royal Court of Princess Donut. Our two mugshots filled my vision with winner and stenciled over them. The remaining cockroaches all dropped dead. The door burst into shards. The music stopped. I leaned up against the stinking woman's dead body, and I tried not to vomit bacon and eggs all over myself. And that was the end of chapter 11. So they defeated their first boss, which they figured out was actually someone who was a human up on the top world, but when like the apocalypse happened, got turned into a monster or a boss in this instant. And this is technically Carl's first human kill. Yeah, the cat did not. Yes, and Princess Donut can use her magic missiles, but refuses to actually fight with her claws, which I'm sure will have some repercussions. But yes, let's see. We got about 20 minutes. I think we could do one more chapter. How long is chapter 12? I think we could do one more chapter. Yeah, we could get through one more chapter. Let's do it. All right. Chapter 12. Explain these bosses to me, I asked Mordecai. I fingered the chain wrapped around my right fist. We found a tutorial guild about a quarter mile from where we'd killed the hoarder. Her body had only dropped a single piece of loot, a scrap of paper called a neighborhood map. It didn't disappear when I looted it, and Donut was able to grab one for herself. The moment I touched it, about a square mile of my minimap automatically populated. I could zoom out and see all the red dots in the area. There were hardly any now. A couple of rooms with white dots appeared, and upon closer inspection, they were all tutorial guilds, all with Mordecai inside. Other than Donut, there weren't any other blue dots visible in the area. There was, however, the X of a corpse on the very edge of the giant neighborhood square, right on the edge of the main corridor. This X was different. It was twice the size and pulsing. I hovered over it, and it said, Corpse of Crawler Rebecca W., Level 3. I didn't know how long she'd been there or how she died, but she'd been killed less than 200 meters from the safe room. Let's go loot her corpse, Donut said the moment she saw it on her map. I want to talk to Mordecai first, I said. I noted the location of the closest tutorial guild, and we angled over there. We opened the door to the guild to find Mordecai on his cot asleep. He had that photo of his brother cradled in his rat arm, and a pile of empty bottles littered on the floor. The upset urn had been fixed, and the ashes all cleaned up. There are 6 main types of bosses, Mordecai said after we woke him up. His voice slurred ever so slightly, and I could smell the alcohol in his breath. Neighborhood, borough, city province, country, and floor bosses. There are also others, but those are called elites. You won't need to worry about them just yet. So that thing we just fought was the most common type of boss? Yes, Mordecai said. And now you'll know how to recognize their lair. It'll probably be pretty obvious to you from now on. The neighborhood bosses are the easiest to kill and the easiest to find. Easy, I grumbled. My now healed legs and fists still ached with phantom pain. The one we fought, she was obviously a person from our world. Is it always going to be like that? I didn't understand a word that the woman was saying, and I was glad for it. I already had enough trouble sleeping. Mordecai didn't answer for several moments, like he was trying hard to think of a proper response. No, not always, he said finally. There will be a lot of recycling from previous iterations of the game. Some will be human stock, but most won't be, or even humans from this world. Or they will be human, but it won't be as obvious. It was quite the disappointing battle, Donut said. A bronze boss box? That deserved a legendary at least. We hadn't opened our boxes yet. All bosses drop persistent loot, and their corpses stay there for any crawler to pick it up. A neighborhood boss will drop a neighborhood map, as you've discovered. Higher bosses will drop other public items, which I'm not allowed to tell you about yet. But, Mordecai added, the ones who actually kill the boss also receive an achievement and a boss box, bronze for neighborhood, silver for borough, and so forth. Also, as you can now see, there's a bronze star after your name in all notifications. You'll get a star after each boss you kill. Are there harder bosses on this level? I said. It's not exactly fair. Most of us can level up, but we don't get anything out of it until we can distribute the points. The first 3 levels won't have any of the province, country, or floor bosses, but there are some powerful bosses out there. They're meant to be taken on by larger groups than just 2 crawlers. You can't run from most boss fights, not on the early floors, so be careful. Okay, I'm opening my boxes, Donut announced, turning away. I had 15 achievements and 7 boxes to open, including that boss box and the gold crowd control box, while Donut grunted with annoyance at all the torches and pet biscuits. I turned back to Mordecai. Is it normal, the number of achievements? He nodded. It's not normal to get that legendary box you did, but the first 3 floors are designed to drown you in low-tier loot and achievements and beginner skills. By the time you have to choose a class, you should have a good idea of what's going to work for you. Once you hit the 4th floor, the achievements are harder to come by. A spell book, Donut cried when she opened her bronze boss box. I didn't have time to read the description before she glowed, indicating she'd already applied it to herself. A moment later, Donut cried with rage. Mordecai grunted with amusement. What is it? I asked. Little one, you really must examine these items before you equip or apply them, he said. Donut glowered. It's a stupid spell. It's a very useful spell, Mordecai said. He turned to me. She just learned a spell called Torch. It makes a curl of light follow you around. The more she uses it, the more powerful it'll become. It's a good spell, I agreed. I pulled up my notifications. I was awash with odd skills, like a skill level increase in dumpster diving and jump attacking. One was particularly interesting. You gained a skill level, Iron Punch level 3. When simple brutality isn't enough, newsboy cap not included, with a skill like this, you can always find work as a 1920s street tough or a collection agent for a bookie. War gauntlets and lumpers will protect your hands, enhance your punching damage without losing your bare knuckle bonus. Each level of this skill increases the enhanced fist damage bonus by an additional 10%. If I was going to utilize my bare knuckle skill, I really needed to find something to protect my fist. Breaking my fingers every time I punched something was not a good long-term plan. My low-tier boxes were all crap. The last 3 were more interesting. Bronze Boss Box, 5 out of 7. Tome of Wisp Armor. Silver Goblin Box, 6 out of 7. Stick of Dynamite times 5. Lighter, Satchel of Gunpowder. Gold Crowd Control Box. Enchanted Spiked Knee Pads of the Shade Knoll Riot Forces. Scroll of Confusing Fog, times 3. Potion of Ironskin, times 5. That tome is a good find, but it costs 5 mana to cast it, and you only have 3 right now. I would hold on to it until you decide what your build is going to be. It's quite valuable. Or give it to the princess, said Mordecai. I'll take it, Donut said, looking up at me. She didn't even know what it was yet. I read the spell's description. Wisp Armor. 5 mana. Target. Self only. Duration 5 minutes plus 1 minute per level of spell. Requires 5-minute cooldown. Surrounds your body with tendrils of light. While ineffective against physical attacks, this spell negates 75% of incoming damage from magic-based attacks. Provides temporary immunity to mind control effects. Higher skill levels increase both effectiveness and duration. It also makes you look all wispy and ethereal like druid-like. A great spell to have if you're a club kid or trying to bang a vegan. A magic protection spell. That would be useful. I'd hold on to it for now. The Scroll of Confusing Fog filled the room with a mist that only the mobs could see, and the Iron Skin Potion raised my physical armor by 100% for 5 minutes. The real prize was the knee pads. While they weren't pants, I was happy to finally have something to put on my legs. I pulled them out of my inventory and examined their properties. Enchanted Spiked Knee Pads of the Shade Knoll Riot Forces. Adds 10% damage reflect to all equipped armor. Cancels all momentum-based attacks. Made of skin, fur, and the spiky things from the back of thorn cadavers. These knee pads are both good protection and they're stylish. Stylish, that is, if your knees are cosplaying as hedgehogs. The knee pads were built like slip-on knee braces, so I pulled my feet through each one and pulled them up. They appeared much too small, but they magically adjusted. The spikes were thin, needle-like. Each spear was about 8 inches long. They were retractable and appeared to only magically pop themselves out when needed. I hoped I wouldn't end up skewering my hand if I reached down to scratch my legs. I remember when I said you looked ridiculous before, Donut said, looking me up and down. Mordecai, darling, is there a worst dress award for the dungeon? Actually, yes, sort of, Mordecai said. After the main episode tunnels, a hosted special comes on where a couple commentators discuss the state of the game. They usually do a segment on weird things happening in the dungeon. They do a lot of contestant profiles and such. Sometimes when people win boss fights, they'll put them out of the game for 10 minutes to do an on-camera interview. The show is almost as popular as the official program, though they'll never let you watch this one. Donut's eyes got as big as saucers. They interview people? She looked at me. Carl, we need on that show. Make it happen. I sighed. That's not how this works, Donut, and you know it. And besides, I am not your agent. No, you're not. Miss Beatrice is my agent, and once we reunite with her, she'll make sure I get on that show. But she's halfway around the world. I figure we'll have to wait until the 5th or 6th floor before the dungeon shrinks enough for us to find her. I really hope we don't have to wait much longer than that. I exchanged a look with Mordecai. Sure, I said finally. Now let's get back out there. And that was the end of chapter 12. And also where I'm going to end our reading for tonight, because I have a feeling if I get into chapter 3, it's going to put us past our time. Oh, actually, no. Chapter 3 is literally only chapter 13 is only 2 pages. We're going to read it. We're going to read it. Well, okay, we're going to read one more chapter, and then that's it, because chapter 13 is so short. So we're going to read it. We're gonna read chapter 13. The first thing we did was angle our way toward that corpse. I asked Mordecai if we'd be able to loot everything the dead woman had, and he said yes. Ooh, hold on. My book is flipping out on me. Get on the... Stop! Okay, there we go. I had asked Mordecai if we'd be able to loot everything the dead woman had, and he said yes. Crawlers drop everything but the unopened loot boxes. Non-crawlers would also be able to loot her body, but they wouldn't have access to her inventory, so the woman likely had some items on her. Maybe she'll have some pants for you. Unless she's over 6 feet tall, then probably not, I said. Items from the surface didn't magically resize themselves. Still, I held out hope she'd have something. By the way, I added a few minutes later, those magic missiles of yours run out pretty quickly. You really need to start training with your claws. Donut didn't say anything for several minutes. I've never done anything like that before. I'm scared of getting hurt. What if it hits me back? I don't want to get hit back. How is it that you can be so reckless and timid at the same time? I can't control my instincts. I'm just a few generations shy of being a ferocious tiger stalking through the jungles. I've seen your pedigree, I said. You're a few generations shy of nothing. Also, your grandfather was also your uncle. Both of us turned the corner, and there she was. She was sitting, leaning up against the wall, just off the main corridor. She was on the very edge of the hoarder's neighborhood. The woman was naked. She had no clothes, no gear at all. The manner of her death wasn't obvious. She appeared to be around 30 years old, slight, Asian. Her hair was pulled back into a ponytail. A full-sleeve tattoo of koi and a crane decorated her left arm. The bright colors of the tattoo suggested it was recent ink. She had several other older tattoos. I think goblins came along and took all her stuff, I said, examining her, popping up the info box. Lootable corpse, Crawler Rebecca W., level 3, killed by Crawler Frank Q., Applecore. I felt as if I was slapped. Killed by Crawler Frank Q.? That's when I saw it. A gunshot wound, right in her chest, between her breasts, right in the middle of a moth tattoo. It had killed her instantly, leaking hardly any blood. Oh goodness, this Frank Q gentleman doesn't seem like a decent person at all, Donut said. I instinctively looked up at my map, looking for blue dots. There were none. Would the dots be hidden if the person was trying to hide? If I wasn't in the area of the neighborhood map, the red dots wouldn't appear unless I was right on top of them. But NPCs always appeared if they were within a couple 100 meters, even if they were around the corner. Could other crawlers hide from me? Christ, another thing to worry about. A crazy asshole with a gun. I was suddenly and inexplicably reminded of that day, the last day I ever saw my father. You're a bully. You're a bully and nobody likes you. It's why Mom left. I was expecting him to get angry, to hit me, but he never hit me. Not once. The man just laughed, and that was enough. I don't need you to like me, but you will respect me. The memory came quickly, out of nowhere. I didn't know why. Nobody had died that day. Nobody had been hurt at all. No, not physically. Maybe Frank Q isn't a human, Donut was saying. Maybe he's one of those Cocker Spaniels. She sniffed at the corpse. Yes, this is definitely the work of a Cocker Spaniel. I sighed. She's been shot, I said. Look, that's from a gun. Maybe the dog had a gun. If I had a gun in my inventory, I could shoot it. No, you couldn't. It wasn't a dog. One of our neighbors in the apartment had a dog named Angel, a Cocker Spaniel. I couldn't remember the woman's name, but her dog was always barking her head off. Bio was friendly with the owner, and they were always chatting in the hallway. Every once in a while, Angel would burst into our apartment, barking, running in circles. She'd pee on the floor and shriek bark at Donut, who would sit atop her cat tree and hiss and spit and poof up all of her hair. We need to be careful, I said. Keep on the lookout for other players. If we come across any, don't tell them what gear we have. They can't examine if they are not in our party. We are in a dungeon filled with killer cockroaches and drug-dealing llamas. Some imbecile with a gun doesn't scare me, Donut announced. And they shouldn't scare you either. We should hunt this vile killer down and bring him to justice. Weren't we just talking about this? And this guy doesn't scare me, I said, looking down at the dead woman. I wondered who she was. Why someone like her was outside at 2:30 in the morning on such a night. I'm never going to know her story. Nobody is ever going to know it. I wondered how scared she'd been, only to be killed by a fellow human. He'd looted her corpse, taking everything, leaving only an apple core. It made me irrationally angry. In fact, I think you're right. I want to find him if we can. I thought for a second. Okay, I said. Let's stick to the neighborhood for right now, since we have the map. We'll hunt down the remaining red dots. We need all the easy experience we can get. Then we'll go back to the safe room and watch the premiere. Mordecai had said that the show would air on the screens in the safe room. After that, the stairs will open up. We'll go hunting for both the stairs and this guy. You're not scared of that guy? Really? Donut asked, looking between me and the corpse. No, I said. Not at all. Well then, you're crazy. I don't like you being crazy. I'm scared of him. We need to stay away from him. What if he's like one of those murder hobos you hear about so much about? Just 2 seconds ago you said, and I quote, some imbecile with a gun doesn't scare me. Yeah, that's when I thought you were being a pussy. I didn't realize you were getting all Charles Bronson death wish on me. How do you even know what that is? You two always leave the TV on when you go to work. I absorbed all that stuff. Miss Beatrice always leaves it on Lifetime and HGTV, and you leave it on the channel that plays The A-Team and Charles Bronson movies all day. We'll be careful, I said. Don't worry. Nearby, a group of 3 dots was steadily moving through a hallway. The map didn't say what they were, but based on our earlier encounters, I guessed them to be more of the rats. I suspected we wouldn't see any scatterers in the neighborhood. Come on, Donut. Let's hunt. And that was the end of chapter 13. Like I said, short chapter. Very short chapter. But that kind of put us right at time, so I'm very satisfied with that. Our next chapter, it would be chapter 14. Oh, hi, Skelly. Donut is a wuss, but also I just can't not love Donut. I love Donut too much. She's just amazing. She's my favorite. But yes, that is the end for today. Tomorrow we are playing Kuon. Reminds me of you. Okay, thanks, Lemus. Yeah. Tomorrow we are playing Kuon because it's Friday. And then Sunday it is Legend of Zelda. Hopefully, I think we're gonna be able to be Legend of Zelda. I don't know actually. I'm not 100% sure on that. Welcome back from your job, Skelly. That wasn't too long. It's like 2 hours you were at work. That's not too bad. But yes, we're going to find someone to raid real quick, so don't leave just yet. Let me see if there's anyone active right now. Honestly, not a bad reading session. We got a lot farther than we did the first time you were reading. You've been saying that for a month. Yeah, I know. I've been saying that for like a month. Okay, there's a lot of people. Alrighty. We're going to go raid Slacker. Because, yes. Alrighty, let me get that set up. Again, tomorrow I'm playing Kuon, probably around the same time as usual. A little less, I got here like 10-ish minutes ago. Oh, that's good. So you kind of caught like the ending bit of that, the last couple, or the last chapter there. But yes, hopefully I will catch you tomorrow. If not, that's okay. I'll catch you at another time. Oh, you're good, Skelly. But anyway, have a good night, day, whatever it may be for you, challers. And yeah, bye-bye.